The evil church all along. It all comes down to the evil church. Anime hates churches. Well, to be honest, to be fair, we're not talking about the entirety of the Faust, just the leadership. I think at this point we pretty much established that Aurel was the leadership. I mean, this was the central point of the Faust, so I'm assuming she's the head priest lady. I don't think we've established that there's multiple networks or whatever, so I guess we'll have to see from here. But yeah, that's my thoughts on episode 5, by the way, of The Executioner and A Way of Life. I don't know. I'm so mixed on my feelings about this episode because I knew I was already predicting really early on that the Faust were going to be summoning, but I didn't think that it was an aspect of them giving the summoning aspect to somebody else to cover up what they're doing. I mean, the whole idea here is that Orwell, she's always been searching for a way to benefit herself. She's always been helping other people, and so she's bitter about it, and now she wants to help herself. She's gonna die. She's getting old. And so she's like, well, I've been helping everybody else. Why can't I have something? And that's driven her to essentially drink the blood of girls to get younger. That didn't work. And now she's basically trying to get this ability from Akari. She wants to get this pure concept from Akari to rewind time for herself. And yeah, I'm not, I don't know. I don't really know. I mean, it makes sense. I understand Orwell as a character, but at the same time, I just hope this isn't too much focus for the story. That this isn't like the next 5 episodes is just about Orwell, because this is kind of there's no real fascinating storyline here, but it does technically put Minot in a conflict. I was really kind of curious how they were going to handle this whole situation, honestly. I mean, I talked about in my previous episode impressions that I was curious if Minot was going to go through with it. Was this going to be the point in which Minot goes against the Faust to help Akari? She's obviously developed feelings for Akari, but even to the point of them putting Akari on this pedestal, she's saying, okay, this is my job. I'm still doing this. She does have doubts, and that was the whole aspect of her. She's still a person. And Orwell even acknowledges the idea that unlike Flair, who was inhumanly the way she was, and that Minot did not have to be her. Like Orwell says, Flair was inhumanly like that to a fault. She had her benefits, but she was that to a fault. But you're different. You serve your purpose, and that is for this. She technically reveals later that is so that she can be a catalyst for Akari and the pure concept to herself, but at least acknowledging that Minot does have feelings for Akari. But yeah, on the other side, I did like that Momo and we have this Momo Ashina thing. I do like Hime and Momo's little kind of thing. I mean, I honestly was thinking it was just going to break out in a fight, but it does seem like Ashina, and it kind of hinted at it with their previous fight, does like Momo. Like, she does like this tough, cute girl, and so obviously she would want to work alongside her. So it was interesting to see that we now at least have 2 neutral parties within 2 factions. We have essentially the Faust, which is obviously at this point seemingly corrupted by Orwell, and then we have the Noblesse, who is obviously corrupted by doing these summonings, and in the middle you have the Minot party and the Ashina party. These 2 groups that, while everything else is going into a bad direction, they're staying kind of true to the original. Minot is essentially going to be the one that keeps the Faust, what they originally were supposed to be, and the princess is going to keep the Noblesse in check as well. And then you have basically the leadership itself doing what they're not supposed to be doing. I do like that, because what it can kind of insinuate is that beyond this encounter, these parties can still be in place. The Nobles can continue on being what they are. It's just Princess is essentially trying to correct them and stop them from doing things that are taboo. And on the other side, Minot is keeping the Faust in check if she can possibly take on Orwell. That's the big question mark. Can Minot beat Orwell? But yeah, their little spouts were just great. I think the chemistry between Momo and Ashina is really great. Just the constant little princess and the cute little Kohai thing just going on through this entire tunnel. They discovered that there's this place inside there that they believe is made by the Noblesse, but the only person that can construct this is Orwell. And then when she realizes that, she tries to contact Minot. There's a barrier. Princess breaks the barrier, and they're able to get notification to Minot, who at that time, that's when Orwell says, yes, it looks like you were able to get communication from her, weren't you? I was sending her to that just to get you guys separated because she didn't want to fight Momo, and Minot at the same time. Sure, like, this is one of those points where it's like, what? Okay, sure, you could have done like a million things to keep Momo busy. Why have her investigate what you're doing? Because if you didn't do it in time, she would have found out and you'd be in trouble. But sure, let's do that. It was one of those dumb things where everything according to Keikaku, and it's like the most stupidest way of keeping people busy, but that's fine. I guess in the end is to get rid of Momo separate from Minot and get rid of Minot at the same time. So this turns into the big reveal from Orwell that she wants to get younger again, that she hates the fact that she's done things for other people and she's gotten bitter about helping people. I've actually ran into people like this in the real life. I've actually ran into people like this in the real life, that I've been a leadership in something that does outgiving, and I've done it for so long, I'm tired of it, and everybody just wants things. It's like, you should have never been there to begin with. But anyways, it's a bitterness that it kind of creates, apparently. But rather than fight Minot herself, she's going to have her fight some weird dragon blood thing summoned. So we'll see where that goes. I'm kind of curious at this point if Flare will show up. I don't think we've established yet where Flare is. And I'm assuming that Flare is eventually going to show up, and this would be the prime point to do that. A lot of the stories that I really like have this element where they show just how powerless a character is. It's those early segments of a story where the main character's faced with something, and they're not just OP and take it on. Instead, they decide to show how weak the main character is by putting them up against something really strong, and then showing how somebody else can take it down. And I think this is going to be that point, because obviously she's separated from Momo. Orwell seems to indicate that if Momo was there, she wouldn't be able to take him on. So it's at least implying that Momo plus Minot could take her on, but that Minot herself can't. Now, yes, Minot could overcome this, maybe possibly using Akari as a sort of correction. At some point she can learn something and then be able to take down Orwell, but I really do think Flare's going to show up. I don't think Flare's dumb. Flare probably knows that Orwell is corrupted in some way, and she probably will be watching Orwell until this point right here where she's going to use a pure concept. I just have a feeling Flare already knows this is going on. But yeah, obviously the other option is to have Akari get involved somehow, and how she can get involved, I don't know. Minot could possibly fail, and then Akari can reset time and then inform Minot what to look out for in order to beat Orwell. But we'll see. That's a curious question there, is exactly how this is going to play out, because at least what they're trying to make us believe, Minot can't beat her. I almost forgot to talk about this. One really interesting thing that was laid out in this episode was Orwell talking about using a fragment of white from the star husk in the northern continent in order to blanch Akari. Now, this makes me wonder right here if this is that confirmation of why Minot is the way she is. The furthest back segment that we've seen of Minot was obviously she was blanched. She was in the middle of all this ash. This girl was there going crazy. Flare tried to finish her off, and then Orwell showed up and finished off the lady when she got all big and crazy. The fact that Orwell was there, Minot was there, blanched, and then Flare showed up implies that Orwell placed Minot there, possibly after she blanched Minot. And then she forced Minot upon Flare. Now, the only thing that makes me think that's not the case is that Orwell didn't reveal it to her the moment that she said that she was going to use that on Akari. She said, in order to use Akari, I'm going to blanch her with this fragment, and that would be a key point for her to say, just like I did you, or something. This might be something they'll come up with during their fight. Eventually, she'll talk about, are you even doing what you want to do? You're just Flare, basically. Just obviously, Orwell could sit here and start to pick at Minot's circumstances and try to pick at her reasonings for why she does what she does. She's basically a puppet. She's doing what others did. She's doing what Flare did. And she can pick at that easily because Flare was assumingly working sort of for the Faust. And the way that she can deal that final blow is say, I blanched you. You were never like this before I changed you. You were a kid that was doing this stuff. And that could be her way of getting at Minot. We'll see. It could go either way. But, yeah. But at any rate, that's my thoughts on episode 5 of Executioner Runaway's Life. Like I said, very mixed. It's got some good stuff in there, but at the same time, I always roll my eyes at the evil church thing. I knew it was going to come because, I mean, nobles are evil. Obviously, the Faust are going to be evil. It kind of implies with this world that everybody's just after their own gain. Everybody's trying to get up on that system, and so the noblest and the Faust are constantly at each other. But at any rate, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button down below. Comment. Let me know what you thought of this episode. Subscribe if you have not already. Share this if you can. Support us on Patreon or through our tips link in the description below. We definitely appreciate everybody that does. and y'all take care.